we obviously want you to keep playing baseball as long as you can, but when you're done with that, you're going to try and grab one of these and keep the media thing going?
If you notice, my hands are behind my back, so I don't grab it out of your hands right now.
He's ready.
Oh, yes, he is. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp first baseman Troy Johnston always has a soundbite ready for us when the camera comes on. Never a dull moment with number 2. Now, Troy Johnston is one of the Miami Marlins' top prospects. He's also a fan favorite for reasons outside of the base path. That's right. The same goes for play-by-play announcer Scott Kornberg. Now, Troy makes the plays, Scott calls the plays, but the connection between these two goes so much deeper than that.
All right, are you ready to rock? Once Wyatt puts that in there and gives us the go-ahead, I'm ready.
Welcome to the Turn 2 podcast, featuring the voice of the Jumbo Shrimp, Scott Kornberg, and Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp first baseman, Troy Johnston.
How excited are you for this? This is
I'm
pretty
super
cool.
excited. Plus, I have a really good answer for the free tickets. So Scott approached me the offseason between 2023 and 2024. Texted me and was like, hey, thinking about getting into podcasting, thought you'd be a great co-host. I said, absolutely.
I just was looking for something different. There's so many baseball podcasts, but so few of them were with a player. And there's none with a current minor league player that I was aware of, at least.
The unique perspective of one of the Miami Marlins' top prospects is on full display, but it's so much more than that. Sure, Troy brings the baseball player accounts of the games to the airwaves, but so does every other baseball podcast.
You know, I've been with you for about 3 years now.
You get more than your standard 6-4-3 double play when you tune in to this pair.
We've been doing this now for a couple of years, and it's evolved on its own.
The podcast area is very, very saturated, but I think what we do a little bit different is we actually go behind the scenes and talk about who the players actually are as like people. Because a lot of people want to know, like, hey, who's the next call up? They want like an actual baseball podcast where it's like they're talking about the Red Sox, they're talking about the Marlins, they're talking about all this different kind of stuff. But us, I want to know about the person. I want to know about your favorite food. I want to know if you got any weird clubhouse stories. You know, we're behind the net, so sometimes we feel like caged animals, and you know, people are yelling at us, wanting stuff from us, and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we are people, and that's kind of what I want to get across.
I just started playing baseball, and I was hitting off the tee, and he gave me a bat, and from then it's just kind of kept going and going and going. But I also played multiple other sports. It just happened to be that baseball was the one that I was good at.
It's great because he comes every single day prepared.
Let's do it.
That's all you could ask for in this business, is to work with somebody who comes in and they really care and they do research and they want to put out a great product. And that's Troy.
It's got to be between John Rooney and Austin Roberts. When they get going with their voices,
Not surprising at all.
Yeah, not surprising one bit.
That to me is all I could ask for. I knew the personality. The prep and the research that he puts in, I think, is what makes him so good at this.
Think of myself more of a person than a baseball player. Baseball is what I do, it's not who I am. So this gives me a great outlet to just talk about anything I want to talk about. I have a lot of fun doing it.
Now in season 2, the best show along the Jumbo Shrimp first baseline is far from spoiled.
People shouldn't be upset about that. You should be upset that your team is not doing that.
I was worried that he wouldn't like it at first. And he was like, I look forward to this more than pretty much anything. Like, he loves this. But he actually looks forward to this maybe even more than I do.
We're having so much fun doing it. And I love that people in the stands even yell at me during the game, says, hey, I love your podcast. And, you know, that's even more exciting than saying, you know, hey, number 2, can I have a ball?
Troy's stellar play is regularly accompanied by Scott's recognizable calls.
First, Johnston towards the target of foul territory, leaning over the wall. He holds on.
But as the Turn 2 podcast gains more ears, the hosts are attracting more eyes.
People stop us. That's pretty cool. I didn't expect that. And that's been really neat. We're really lucky to have the listenership we do, because we've been really surprised at the numbers that we've gotten of views and listens and all that stuff. But I think it manifested itself. We did a wives and girlfriends episode. That's my favorite one we've done so far.
I would say the wives gave a very unique perspective.
So what's your superstition?
One, I cannot record you while you're at bat. Every time I do that, you either strike out or it's like a straight pop-up.
Troy, strike out, never.
And they would get recognized. And that was really neat, because when it's your wife saying, yeah, I got recognized at the game, that was really cool. I think that's when we kind of knew, like, hey, wait a minute, this thing is kind of taking off a little bit.
One thing we've also recognized is that Troy Johnston is one heck of a baseball player.
Young going back to the track, at the wall, gone! Hashtag dad strength for Troy Johnston.
As great as he is on the podcast show, it goes without saying that his goal on the diamond is to make it to the big show.
That was the realization that, I think it was in high school, like, hey, you could do this for a career.
You never want to ruin a good thing, but in this case, Scott Kornberg is wishing for a little change for his broadcast partner.
And some of the stuff I picked up from him is about dealing with that mental grind. When you know you're good enough, when you're putting up the numbers down here and maybe still not getting that call, what do you have to do now? How do you handle that mentally? That's just some of the things I've learned about being a player, a way that I didn't realize before. But he's a major leaguer. There's no doubt in my mind, and I just hope he gets that shot. He deserves it because he's a heck of a player and he's an awesome guy on top of it.